Good evening, this is Carolyn, and welcome to Scraps to Embellishments. We are going to do the, I think it is, let me check, Welcome Home embellishment for this week's mini swap. And we could do anything about home. And Ginger told us to think outside the box, and like just anything that was a home would qualify. Well, when I started looking through my dies, I had an Igloo. Well, that is a home, and so I think that'll be a little different. It could be fun. It could be used for a winter layout. It could be used for a Christmas layout. It could be used for like even if you were moving and like put your new address. I mean, I think you could use it for a lot of different things. This is an Elizabeth Crafts, design die cut. And I really think I've either misplaced a piece or don't have a piece, because I have this, but I do not have the one that cuts the background. So I just glued it on and cut it out. And I do not have, this looks dimensional, and I only have one. So I didn't follow this. I'll just tell you, I didn't follow this. I just went on my own so that I could get some dimension on it, and that's how it is. So we're going to start by working on our little igloo. And to do my igloo, I didn't want it quite so flat, so I cut two of them, and I'm going to just stack them. You've seen me do this before. Just gives it a little bit of, makes it more like chipboard. And you don't have to get glue everywhere, but I'm just going to go through and do glue most places, just to hold it together, give it a little depth, and just doesn't look quite as plain and flat. Just takes a second to run this glue, and you do need to do it fast because your glue, liquid adhesives dry quickly, and you need that second or two of wiggle room so that you can line it up and be sure you've got it straight. This one, I cut it on some really good cardstock and that I had in my scraps, and so it lines up pretty easily. But anyway, that gives us, it just keeps it from being so flat. We have to be flat in our weekly swaps. That's the rule, but you can do some layers of paper. I don't think I need this anymore, but you can do some layers of paper, and so that's what we're going to do here. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and ink it. I think it needs a little bit of inking just to bring out, make it kind of pop and come alive. So while I'm doing this, and as you can see, I'm using my little makeup brush, my little eyeshadow brush. You can probably get these at Dollar Tree for, $1.25. I think I've had mine so long, I probably got them at Walmart or something, but I use them all the time. Have one for just about every color, just like my daubers. I actually keep them in the little thing with my daubers. While I'm doing this, I'm going to do the twist real quick. The twist tonight comes from, let me make sure, Proverbs 24, 3 and 4. It says, through wisdom and house is builded. This is King James. I just like the sound of it. Through wisdom and house is builded, and by understanding it is established, and by knowledge shall the chambers be filled with all the precious and pleasant riches. You know, I got to thinking about people who live, literally, people live in igloos. People live in grass huts. People live in mansions. And people live in everything in between. But that's not what God sees our houses. And that's not how we should see our houses. Yes, we want a house that protects us from the weather, and we want one that's comfortable and accommodates us and all of that. But look what God says actually builds our house. Wisdom is where it starts. Through wisdom, the house is built. Wisdom and knowledge are different. Wisdom uses knowledge, but wisdom uses the knowledge that we have, the skills that we have, in a way that's good and profitable and pleasing in God's eyes. That's wisdom. And then it says understanding. It's established through understanding. We have to understand what God wants us to do. We have to understand His will. We have to understand our relationship to the world around us. There are a lot of things that we have to understand. We have to understand His plan for our salvation. And then it says knowledge is actually what furnishes it. It says knowledge shall the chambers be filled with priceless and pleasant riches. But we have to be careful with knowledge. I think knowledge is good, and we need knowledge. We need to know how to read and write and add and subtract. And God uses knowledge in addition with wisdom to help us. I mean, just think if doctors didn't have knowledge, where would we be? So knowledge is important, but it's the combination of all of those things and then used with wisdom. So when we think about our houses, and maybe we're not just absolutely totally thrilled with our house, or we're thinking about another house, think deeper and think about what that house is built on. Is it built on the things that God says are good and right for our homes to be built on? And of course, we all know the little song about being built on the rock and not the sand. I am going to, I'm just going to glue this. Since I don't have that other die, I am just going to glue this to a paper that I'm going to cut for the background. So I don't want it see-through, because I don't know what paper I would be wanting to put it on, and I don't want it see-through. So this is like a really, really light gray that I chose to back these with. And I inked it with hickory smoke. You can tell I've got this crud in my throat. Don't have a sore throat. Nothing else going on. I just kind of have this crud in my throat. So I'm just going to cut this out. And I'm going to let it dry just a minute while I work on the little, I call it the iceberg part. It's not really an iceberg, but so the only part I had, the die I had, was this, which is the whole bottom part. But in the picture, it looks like there's a layer. Now I don't know if you can see this, but it's embossed with a layer. So I just cut 2 of these and then cut this part off and made this part. And that's how I'm going to layer mine. So we're going to ink this. Let me get the lid on my glue for it wants to dry up. Take a swig of my coffee and see if it'll clear my throat up. Like I said, I'm just using the hickory smoke, and I want this to have a lot of shadow on it. So I'm holding my dauber pretty flat and raking it across, those edges with a pretty wide swoop. I don't want it real dark. I could make it a lot darker. And this is Distress Oxide, so it'll dry a little lighter than what it looks anyway. But I'm just going to go all around this little piece that I trimmed off of that, just following those embossing marks. I probably stuck those other pieces. I have the polar bear. I have several of these Elizabeth Craft designs. You've seen me use them before. I have the pig, I have a giraffe, I have a lion, I have a tiger, and I have this little polar bear. And I just thought this little igloo was so cute to go with that little polar bear. And I may have stuck maybe those other pieces in with him. I didn't check. That's a thought. Because it sure looks like there's more pieces than that. And it would be unusual for an Elizabeth Craft design to just have 4 little pieces, trust me. Now the big one, same same process because I want it pretty far into the paper so that it really gives that shadow. If you don't want much, you hold your dauber straight up and down, but if you want more of a shadow into and on your paper, then you do it a lot flatter. I don't know if you can see that embossing, but I just cut out around it and to make a piece that would give us some layering. Okay. And then I need to, there are some other little lines on this, and I'm just going to see if I can see them. There they are. I'm just going to hit those with my little sponge thing here. There we go. I think that's it. Nope, one more. Okay. Now, I'm just going to glue this like where it gives us just a little bit of layering and makes it look a little more dimensional. Let's see, I don't want to glue that against my mat. I don't know about y'all, but we had rain. It rained all night last night. Just this nice, gentle, good rain into the morning a little bit. And then we had cooler weather. We've been up in the 90s. I mean, like high 90s. Some of our heat indexes have even been over 100 this last week. And then today, it was so pleasant. I think the high was like in the low, maybe 81 or something like that. It was so pleasant. Beautiful out there. Okay, now I'm just gonna cough a little, and then I'm gonna trim these little points and then touch them with the ink dauber, and that gives us our little iceberg thing. I don't know what it is. They don't live on icebergs, but glacier, ice field, I don't know what it's called. And then this is the little sign. I like to never figured out what it was. Something had covered up the picture of the sign, and I'm like, what is that in my die cut? But we do need to ink it. Get all the way around it. And its little post. Excuse me. I seem to get this nearly every year, and it's kind of hard to shake, I'll tell you. Well, I thought I could do that without getting any more ink, but I think I'm going to have just a little. But I thought this was a cute die cut, and I don't think I've used it maybe once or twice. I've used the bear more than I have the igloo, and I thought, hey, that's a different take on home. So now let's do a little, just draw across here a little bit, give that a little personality. Okay, let's go ahead and glue our sign together, and then we'll work on finishing up our igloo. Now, this on the die cut, it said welcome to the North Pole, but I decided not. I thought about home is where your heart is, or home sweet home, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to leave it. Because somebody could even use this like for a doghouse, because it looks like those igloo dog houses. They might want to put their dog's name on it, or when they got their dog, or when they moved into a house. There are too many possibilities, and I didn't want to put anything on it. I'm going to let you put whatever you want on it if you're on my team. Okay, now let's just fussy cut this out. And we're almost finished. Guess if I'd have been a really good team member, I would have done the polar bear to put with it. But I'm telling you, I'm a little busy right now. I've got puppies. I just had puppies like 2 days ago, and they're keeping me very busy. I have to feed every 2 hours because she had 11. I'm actually down to 10. She laid on one. She had 11, and the little ones just get pushed aside. So I divide them into the bigger ones and the little ones and rotate them every 2 hours and feed the ones that are coming off and then put the others on her, and it just works out much better. But it's so time consuming. And it's all through the night, and I get sleep deprived. I nearly get sick every time, but I have to do it. It supplements my income. All right, I think that has that the way we want it. And we're just going to put it right on here, and then if you wanted to, you could put your sign there. So here is our little home, sweet home. There we go. I'll see if I can give you a little bit closer look at it. See if I can do that. And then just thank you for dropping by my channel. I hope you liked it. I hope you're on my team if you like it. And have a blessed day and be a blessing to someone else. Oh, and all the stuff will be in the description box so you can watch everybody's creation. And I'm sure there are going to be some cute ones on this one. So it's all in the description box. And the link to Ginger's Corner, if you're not familiar with Ginger's Corner, is down there. So just have a blast. See you later. Thanks for dropping by.